Tuesday, and we are back in the kitchen. Today we are following up, continuing with our Mediterranean cuisine, and I'll be making a Spanish-inspired chicken stew. I've got some great colorful ingredients here, very much in keeping with the Mediterranean diet. While we're getting prepped here, I'm going to quickly put on my Dutch oven. This is a Dutch oven, onto my burner here and get it heating up, because with this dish what we're going to do is we're going to sear the chicken to seal in the juices. And what I have here are 4 organic chicken thighs, boneless and skinless, that I'm just going to brown up beforehand. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil in there, but in order to keep the chicken from sticking, I like to heat the pan up first, then heat the oil up, and then we'll add the chicken. Meanwhile, let me just explain some of the anti-inflammatory foods that we have here. Yes, one of the reasons the Mediterranean diet is so good for us is it's anti-inflammatory. And inflammation, as we know now, is causing many of the chronic diseases that we're seeing in our culture, which includes heart disease or obesity, diabetes. All of these that have been attributed to other factors, like maybe fat in the past, it's now known that high sugar and processed foods are what's causing that. But on the other side, there are foods that actually fight inflammation by helping with the oxidative damage that happens in our body. And what are those? Nothing more than beautiful, colorful vegetables that have phytonutrients in them that naturally help keep us healthy and actually almost, I don't want to say anti-age, but help with the aging process, because it helps us stay healthier and feeling physically and mentally better. So this is heating up now. I'm going to add in my chicken in a moment. While that's happening, I'm going to set my veggies aside here. We will also be adding in some olives, which is a big part of the Mediterranean diet. And I'm going to be adding in some green beans and zucchini at the end. But right now what I'd like to do is just to start by dicing my onion. And I'm just going to do, it doesn't have to be a very fine dice, so I'm going to cut it across horizontally once and then cut down vertically a couple of times. And come across again in the other direction, so that I have a fairly nice dice on that. Let me show you a little bit better what that looks like. Up close and personal, right? There you go. All right, so we're going to be adding these in after we add in the chicken. So first, what I want to do is layer in my chicken. I've got it at a medium high. I just turned it down to about a medium heat. I want to coat that oil a little bit better, get it all over the bottom. And add in, I just added a little bit of salt and pepper to my thighs here. Earlier on, I'm just going to wash my hands after touching the chicken there. All right. And I'm going to move aside my tray here so we don't have any of that while we're cooking. So those chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breasts, I went through, took off a little bit of the extra fat that was on them, a little bit of salt and pepper, and they're good to go. And while that is browning, I'm going to continue to prep my vegetables. All these wonderful vegetables that, as I said, are antioxidant, have antioxidation properties that help keep inflammation at bay. And that's actually what we want to do to stay healthy, keep inflammation down as low as possible. I'm going to prep my garlic here. Another great anti-inflammatory food. Also great for our immune system. Especially important during these times, right? And I'm just going to give that, it doesn't, again, does not have to be a very fine dice. These are 2 rather large cloves. If they were smaller, I might have used 3. But these are nice, a nice big size. I'm going to stick with the 2 here. I do like my garlic. All right, let's take a look at what's going on with our chicken here. Grab some tongs so that I can turn them around. And I will show you. I'm just doing this so that the juices get sealed in. A couple of them have stuck. That one's better. Just this one, a little stubborn. I'm just going to scrape it up off the bottom there a little bit. There we go. Very good. Keep this cooking. I turned up the heat on it just a little bit again. All right, so we have our onion, we have our garlic. I can show you 2. Not a very small dice. I kept it a little chunky. I like it chunky. We're also going to be adding in some carrots, some wonderful orange, beta carotene. It's good for our eyes and our skin. And I'm just slicing these, probably about a 1/4 inch slice. If you like yours chunkier, by all means, make a larger dice. It'll just take a little bit longer to cook when you're doing so. All right, so there we have our carrots. All right. And since we're waiting on the chicken, I'm going to dice up my red pepper. Yum. And I'm going to give that, I actually started this on a fairly small dice. I'm going to make it a little bit chunkier, the next one, because it doesn't need to be that fine of a dice. It depends on how you like your stew. I like my stews with a lot of chunks in them. So what I did was I cut off the top and the bottom of my pepper here. As you can see, I'm going to remove the white veins inside, membranes inside. Remove the seeds as well. And then I'm just going to cut it in half. So I have a C-shaped piece here. And then I'm just going to cut down, making long pieces. Let me just check on my chicken here a minute. This is looking good. As I said, I'm not doing this to cook the chicken, but just to brown it. Seal in the juices. I'm going to give that another minute. And as I do that, I will continue to slice my, that's a better slice I think for this, my red pepper. So you can see the size that I have going on here. Okay, great. And finish up with the other half of my pepper here. I like to take the white membrane off. It depends on whether you like to or not. I just think it looks nicer. No other reason than that. I'm not sure if the flavor is any different. Sometimes we remove things because the flavor might be a little bit more bitter. But, all right, so now here you see we've got a nice array of our vegetables prepped. I'm going to remove my chicken from the pot. And then what we're going to do is brown our, I'll show this to you just to see how far cooked this is. You'll see there's still some raw spots on it. But just with a little bit of a brown tinge to it. And I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to put another plate on top so it stays nice and warm, just for now. All right, and now that allows me to add in my chopped up onion. And I'm going to add in my carrot too, because it takes carrots a little bit longer to cook than the other two items. I used to add in my garlic right away, but I have found and I have read that it's better to leave the garlic towards the end of the process because you don't want it to burn. When it burns, it gets bitter. This way, it gets fragrant and it's perfect. All right. So, we're just going to stir this now. What I want to do is I want the onion to just start to soften. I want it to caramelize a little bit. It doesn't have to go to full caramelize, but I just want it to just start to get soft and translucent. I'm also going to add a little bit of water to this because I can see the bottom is getting a little bit browned, and this is a great way to keep it from burning. I'm going to up the temperature a little bit to heat that up. I put in maybe about a tablespoon of water. I probably could have put in less and it would have been fine. So now I'm just waiting for that to cook off. So, I started this dish and I felt like it needed more vegetables. So I added in the zucchini and the green peppers. Green beans. I said green peppers, sorry. Zucchini and green peppers. Growing up, we had a dish that my grandma always made, which was called gagouts and green beans. Gagouts is the Italian for zucchini and the green beans. And I thought that would be a perfect combination to add in with our chicken. Adding in those Mediterranean flavors, right? All right, so I think our onions are softening up here just nicely. Yeah, I think I should have added a little bit less water with that. Just a teaspoonful of water would have been just fine. So I'm just waiting for that to cook off. I can add in my green peppers. Get those started. Give that a stir as well. Let me see, I've got some questions. Hey, Kathy, good to see you. Yes, Kathy says she's looking forward to seeing us. Our Mediterranean program starts April 14th. Anyone who's interested, please join us. We're going to be cooking up some Mediterranean dishes for the week, and we'll be talking about what it is about the Mediterranean diet, and I did mention a little bit of that already, didn't I? About what makes it so healthy for us. We'll be doing that all through Zoom. So in the safety of our own kitchens, and we get to cook together, which will be so much fun. Hey, Michael. I like that, learning about the garlic, right? From one Italian to another, right? But it does make a difference. You don't want that garlic to burn. All right. So I'm going to add in my, well, you know what? Let me show you what we've got going here. In the pot. So you can see it's starting to soften. If I had more time, I would say let it go a little bit longer. There's no harm in letting it go a little bit longer. I'm going to add the garlic in now, though. Get that going. This was the last of my garden garlic from last year. I know. And I forgot to put my sets in for garlic, so I won't be getting garlic this year, unfortunately. You know, maybe what I should start doing is posting my ingredients ahead of time so that if people want to cook along with me, they can. I'll have to think about that. It'll take a little bit more planning on my part. Okay, so we've got this going very nicely now. So what I want, before I add my chicken back in, let me add my seasonings so I can brown those a little bit. I'm going to add in, I had some options. I could add in straight oregano, maybe about a teaspoon or so of oregano, or Italian seasoning mix. I'm going to add in the Italian seasoning mix just to get a little bit of variety. All right, so I've got about a teaspoon and a half. You know what, I'm going to add in a little bit more. I'm going to say about 2 teaspoons. If you like a lot of the seasonings, by all means, add a tablespoon in. If you don't have Italian seasoning mix, you could add a little bit of oregano, a little bit of basil, a little bit of thyme is a good one in there as well. Just going to stir that up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, for color and flavor, a little bit of paprika. I'm going to add in the regular sweet paprika, about a half teaspoon. I also pulled out, I think I decided that I was going to do a little bit of my sweet smoked Hungarian paprika. I'll just clean this off a little bit so I don't mix them. And this is a very strong paprika, so I'm actually going to add in about 1/4 teaspoon. And then maybe I'll add a little bit of the regular sweet paprika that I have. So what I actually did was I added in the paprika, the half teaspoon, and then just a kind of a pinch of the smoked paprika. If you like that smoky paprika flavor really strong, by all means, use the smoky paprika. If you're not sure you like it, do like I did and add in the regular paprika and maybe just a little touch of the other. I'm going to turn this down now so we don't let it burn. And I'm going to put a touch of water in just to keep that bottom from burning. Oh, that is smelling so good. Let me hold it up for you to see. Here we go. All right. Everything is softening up beautifully now. So I'm going to add in, at this point, my olives. Going to add in a can of, I got fire roasted diced tomatoes. They're organic, just from the local grocery here. And I'm going to add that into the pot. Now, if it was the time of year where the tomatoes were coming in, the garden, we're getting all fresh tomatoes, and I could add just chopped up fresh tomatoes as well. That's a lovely addition. But since I don't have that, I'm going to use the organic canned tomatoes. I'll show you again. It's just the store brand, but what I like about it is it's their organic line. And it's in a BPA-free can. Always important for tomatoes. The more acidic the vegetable is, the more likely it will interact with a metal. So we want to make sure that it's not doing that, right? Exactly. Let's see if we have everything. So we added in our carrot, our tomatoes. I'm going to add this in last, but these are small white beans. These are northern beans, great northern beans. You can use cannellini beans, which are a little bit bigger. You can use white navy beans, which are also a little bit bigger. I like the small ones. And I have it here. I will let these drain in my colander, in my sink here. And I'm going to give them a quick rinse. And I'm just going to let them sit for a minute and drip. So I added in about a cup of my pimento stuffed green olives. And I'm going to add in a little bit of broth. I have some homemade chicken stock that I have here. And I'm going to add in just enough to start covering. So probably I added in about a cup. But I just want to cover those vegetables. Let me get these spices out of the way. Those spices. I'm sorry, cover up the vegetables and spices that I have in my pot here. I'm going to crank my temperature a little bit more. And now I can add back in my chicken, which is just here. So I'm going to add that in again. And I'm going to nestle it into the veggies that are in here. Oh, this is looking so pretty. And I'm going to add in my beans. Give those a stir. Oh, and I forgot to add that I wanted to add in a little bit, I don't think I need it. I was going to add a little bit of tomato paste. If you like it more of a sweet tomatoey flavor, by all means, about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste in there would be good. But I'm thinking this looks really good just like this, so I'm going to let it go this time. Sometimes it depends on the mood that I'm in. It depends, but we're all good to go, set to go here. So what I can do is let this, I'll cover it, let it sit on a low heat on the stove about an hour, and it will be done. Or I could put it into the oven. My Dutch oven is made to go from stovetop into the oven. So I could do that for 45 minutes at 375 degrees. And it would cook. The thing is, you just want the chicken to cook and you want the vegetables to soften, right? So either way, that would work. And again, as you can see, this is kind of a real easy dish to make. It depends on what's in your refrigerator. As I said, I added, I didn't add in my zucchini. Let's do that because I love the idea of the zucchini with it. And what I'm going to do is, isn't this great? See, you can see, even if you forget something, you can just add it in later on. I'm doing about 1/2 inch slices on my zucchini. And then I'm going to quarter each one of those slices that I have. All right, so I'm just going to go through once and then turn it 45 degrees or 90 degrees rather, and I will have a nice even dice on my zucchini. Let's see. How does it taste without the olives? I do not have any. You know what? I would say that without the olives, it is going to be delicious. It'll be fine. I would probably add a little bit of salt into it. The other thing too is if you want to add a little bit of zing, the olives give zing to it. You could add a little bit of cayenne pepper just to give it a little bit, or some red pepper flakes just to give it a little bit of a zing, which would be nice. You might want to think about adding in that tomato paste as well, so that just to give it a little bit more richness. I find that the olives really add a lot of a sharper flavor to it. So I'm just trying to think of alternatives that you could do to add that in. So this is boiling really nicely now. And you know, I'll let you know if I decide to add in that tomato paste. Again, it's something I can add in later. If it looks like the broth is thinner than I want it, I might add in a little bit of that tomato paste. But for now, I'm thinking this is looking really good. I'm going to set it on my main stove, and I'm just going to put it at a simmer now for about 45 minutes. I'll check it after 45 minutes and see how it's going. So, okay, yeah, Kathy says she's going to try those red pepper flakes and the tomato paste. Let me know how it comes out. I'm really curious. It's always a project in progress. Let me add those green beans so we don't forget those as well. I'm so glad I have these ingredients in front of me so I don't forget anything. But before we go, I just want to show this to you so you can see what beautiful colors we have in here. It's so hard to show it because it, the sauce, the smell is wonderful. We're getting all of those wonderful colors in there. It looks Mediterranean. I'm going to take a picture of it and I'll post it so you can really see. So I hope you enjoyed the recipe. I hope you get a chance to try it. If you have any questions, by all means, please ask me. Again, too, if you would like to try an anti-inflammatory diet, one that helps keep us healthy, helps us with the diseases that, or helps us prevent the chronic diseases that come from eating a standard American diet, this is a great program for you to try. So hope to see you soon. I'll be back next Tuesday. Until then, please stay well, stay healthy, enjoy your meals, and I will see you then. Take care. Thanks for visiting. Bye-bye now.